Hello, everyone. Can you just real quick, because I don't usually stream in this setting and I want to make sure my computer is set up correctly. Can you guys just make sure that you hear me? Say yes to hearing me. Hey, Liz Triggs. Mods, thank you so much for being here. Okay, Kestrel, thank you.
Thanks,
hey,
Kestrel.
Just as I am. Guys, I want to say welcome. There might be some new people from the lifeboat who came over, and I want to say thank you to subscribing to my channel. My name is Relatable Reese, and my channel is I'm Reese, and this is my boyfriend, Tommy. You may or may not recognize.
Yeah, better.
He's kind of cute. I like him in those glasses.
No question.
I
meant the glasses.
Fairly confident.
I meant the glasses.
Take a compliment without
I meant the glasses.
Doubling down on it.
Shall we? I know you like these glasses.
I'm gonna put my phone in D&D.
Not a fan of the green ones. So this is the leaving Vegas.
So this is leaving Las Vegas. Okay, we want to discuss. We have a lot to cover. Why isn't this on Colts and Crims? You know, we should fire that up while we're here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be.
We should say hello.
We will. We will absolutely.
Kestrel, good idea. Hey, Joel Sachs. So, guys.
But this is definitely relatable Reese stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of pertains to that right now, Kestrel, but we will probably fire that channel back up. For those of you that don't know, Tommy and I have a channel called Colts and Crims. And because I came from a cult,
She's a bit of a crim.
Oh, I am now.
She's learning.
Got a little bit of a crim in me.
Learning on the fly. Nice.
Sometimes. Tends to be
in
more
Vegas.
In the evenings.
Oh, come on now.
I was born and raised in the Church of Scientology, so cults, crims, and then the crims kind of bled over to here because we're crims together at this point.
There's a little bit of that going on.
There's no going back.
It's all in at this point. So we went out to Vegas. Our first time attending. We talked about them a lot. So a little background, just real quick for those people that have no idea. Reese's ex was a member of a secret society of sorts.
A couple of them. Actually, I was married to two men.
At the same time, which is odd.
No, it was Utah.
I can't back that up.
It was in Utah.
I can't back that up. So she pulled it in Nicole Smith and married a dude that was like 104. He was a jester, however, had been out of the fold for a while on account of the age thing. So her second husband also was a member of the Royal Order of Jesters. And it starts out like this. These guys become Freemasons. You're all familiar with the Freemasons, right? This is a worldwide organization of people that are out to make a better man. At least that's the line of crap I was told when I showed up. They're going to make you a better man, and you're going to hang out with better men and the whole concept. And I didn't progress through it on account of the fact that I'm not a better man. So I ended up getting in trouble, and they didn't want a felon anywhere near there. So fortunately, I was able to dodge that bullet altogether. However, the guys that stay in very often will go into other offshoots of secret societies that all come off of Freemasons. And one is what are the ones with the hats? Shriners, thank you.
I just want to say, Kay Thompson, thank you so much. Great seeing you both. Yes, they have been fun. And thank you for your super chat, Kay. So just to give a little bit of that background to add to what Tommy said, I was married to two of these guys. You have to be a Mason in order to be a Shriner. In order to be a Royal Order of Jester member, you have to be a Shriner in good standing, okay? It takes quite a bit of work to get into this. It's a very, very, very secret. They call it an appendant body is what they would call it. It's a very secret group of the Masonic organization.
Right. All under that umbrella.
Yes. You have to it's by invite only. They call it in their words, a luxury gentleman's organization.
We'll revisit that later.
They do. You have to make a certain amount of money.
Yeah, they're very intrusive. They want to know everything there is to know about you before you're going to get into this thing. They're hardcore about that.
Well, if you think about it, the things that go on, they want to know their members very well.
And they want to know that you can afford to continue to gamble and pay prostitutes, because that's really what this thing is all about. You know, so you have to have enough money to be able to travel, because these parties are going on all over the place all the time.
Around the world.
Literally.
So this is worldwide. We said there's probably over 100,000 members. It's It's a large group, guys, but here's the problem.
An old group.
They've been around 100 and almost 102 years. Right now it's at 101. Okay. They are extremely secretive. It is very, very hard. If you go to Google anything, it's difficult. You'll find some.
You're liable to get us.
But in all seriousness, it's extremely West Coast Fancy Nancy. Thank you for becoming a member. It is extremely highly secretive. Okay. You're going to have a tough time finding anything. What?
The watch face. How about that?
The ring and your eyes. Do they all match?
Yeah. I said something very similar.
Thank you, Original Anne.
Yeah, I said something very similar.
This is a new watch that my sweetheart gifted me while I was here.
How about that? I'm there.
So I really do want to kind of break this down because there might be some new people watching. So I don't want to jump right in, but that is in a nutshell what the jesters are. Now, there's some things that have to happen when they get initiated. I can answer questions, but for the most part, that's what you're looking at. So the way that I know about all of this, Kaz, it's been a while. It has been a while, Kaz, and I'm happy to see you. Thank you for being a member, my friend. I was married into this. I've had 2 husbands that were members of this. One husband I didn't learn much about through it. Tampa B, thank you for being a member.
Tampa B.
So I know quite a bit about it. One husband, I didn't learn a lot. He did tell me some things, but he did not participate in these activities. He was a member for 50 years, and he did not participate toward the end of his life when I met him. So I did not get to see him go on these trips and all of that. I have another husband that was very, very deeply rooted, upper echelon member of the organization, traveled all the time. I met many jesters through him. I went to many parties where the women were allowed. I got kicked out eventually and banned from them, which is weird because I typically just keep my mouth sealed.
Oh yeah, no, you're known for it. That's it's kind of in your personality. Hey, settle down. Hey, real quick. Someone said secret society that has a Wikipedia page. This is how this goes. The Freemasons have a Wikipedia page. The Skull and Crossbones have a Wikipedia page. That doesn't take much. But what you're not going to read on that Wikipedia page is, yeah, we've been running a traveling brothel, whorehouse and gambling casino for the better part of 100 years, right? And right now on the floor of Congress, we've got a jester, straight up. Now, in order to take those kinds of oaths of office, you're not supposed to be in any secret societies. The number of judges, the number of elected officials that are in this group is terrifying. And I hate to be a buzzkill, but John Wayne was a jester, and the president was
Harry Truman.
Harry S. Truman was a jester. These are big dog people. And by the way, no doubt on Harry. She has no lie. She's got a letter from Harry Truman. Signed letter saying
from 1957.
Sorry, I couldn't make the jester party, but no joke. Which is so we got there's an awful lot of evidence on this stuff and what it is. However, we've done shows on it. We've talked about it ad nauseum, kind of.
Pamela, thank you for becoming a member.
And if you guys remember, there was if you're new here, last summer they had an episode out at a lake party.
Love you, Zelda.
And we circled swan boats at the lake party virtually. Everybody kind of pulled together. And what happened is, just from people talking online and doing things, the next thing you know, one of these people gets pulled over in a truck carrying some drugs to this party.
Thank you,
and
Heather.
The driver of the truck was
a jester judge.
A judge.
And I'm not going to name him. I know his name, and I saw him the day before yesterday.
We may show a picture of him, though, a little later. We may not tell you his name, but he sat 2 feet away from us.
Well, he talked to us.
Yeah, it was a beautiful thing. Do the Masons have anything to do with this?
Thank you, Chris and Melinda. I love you, girl.
All jesters are masons, but not all masons are jesters. It's a way of paring these people down. Once you realize they're willing to be in a secret society, then there's other ways to get people into smaller societies. And then if you see that, like the Shriners, and someone else asked, is this the same thing as the Shriners Hospital? It is. They have a very philanthropic goal, and it gives them a very good look. Right? It gives them a very shiny face. However, if you start deep diving it, you'll find that they throw a lot of parties with a lot of prostitutes, and these guys get wild, and hotels get trashed. They're still doing wonderful stuff, but there's a lot of weird stuff that comes out on that as well. But even pared down from them, because you have to be a Mason first, and then you have to be a Shriner, and pared down from that, you're going to get invited into this very secretive and very kind of small. They couldn't bring 100 of you in. Each court has a very limited number of slots that they can invite each year, and not everybody's going to join.
Baby steps. Thank you for gifting those. I think it's so kind. Arwa,
Hot sauce packets.
I love it when you guys do that. It's really, really kind.
Hot sauce packets.
Tommy, my stepdad is a 33rd degree Mason and will tell me anything if I ask.
Oh,
well, that's
Lord.
Extremely unusual.
Odd.
My
Yes.
husband was a 33rd degree,
and they are not very talkative.
They do not talk about it, and you can't ask about it or you won't get invited. And that goes for the jesters as well. Thank you, Tampa B. That's so kind.
I'll send you a list. List of questions.
33rd is highly secretive, as you know, Russ. And
that's the top of the food chain.
My husband was a 33rd degree. So to just kind of bring you forward, I was married and in a relationship with one of these guys for 5 years. And over the course of that 5 years, that was the one who was extremely, extremely active in the Jesters. I found out about this before I found out about it. I knew immediately something wasn't right. My dog is Redder's biggest fan. He even woke me up when you went live. Like he knew I wanted to hear what happened. Better together. I love you, girl. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't know you had a dog. I love that. Thank you for your super chat, babe. I found out about this, like I said, before I found out about it. I smelled it a mile away, but I was a Scientologist, and there's a lot of sleuthing going on there. There's a lot of sleuthing. So I knew something wasn't right. Just to catch you up, he would go to these parties. These parties start on typically Wednesdays. They end on Sundays. And there's a party every single week of
literally
every week of the year. So these guys are worldwide, but nationwide, they have a party every single week. Could be in Wisconsin, could be in Idaho, could be in Kansas City. They have, I love you, better together. You're a babe. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, Caroline in Canada. You guys are becoming members. That's so nice of you. Thank you. They had parties everywhere. The husband that I was married to was very proud of the fact that he had gone to over 150 of these parties. Ren B. That's my very good friend right there. Say hi to Ren. I never get to see her. He started traveling to these parties when we were a couple.
I'm off YouTube a couple of weeks. You get chased out of Vegas. I'm oddly proud.
Did Ren say that? She keeps close tabs on me.
That's
she's a very good friend of mine. Don't know if I'm jumping ahead. How did your exes feel about Scientology? I didn't share much with them about Scientology. Scientology is such a deep dive of a rabbit hole. I was born and raised, I'm 40. I was in for 38 years. So I learned by my mid-20s, even though we're supposed to what's called disseminate Scientology, we're supposed to get new members. I stopped doing that because people go, oh, you believe in aliens. Oh, you don't believe in God. And so even marrying non-Scientologists, I just didn't talk about it. It's too much to answer, too much to do. I don't mind doing that now because I have a YouTube channel. Tommy, what kind of watch did you get, Reese? Love it.
That is a Ratto, a vintage Ratto.
I love it.
Golden
Ev Barney.
horse.
Thank you, babe. I love you, Ev. So he went to, this is very important. He would go to these parties and he would say to me, this is just a stag, men only party. And he would say, I'll be back on Sunday and it's just about fellowship and the guys, and we're going to play golf and have a few drinks, smoke some cigars. It's just us guys getting together. And I knew right away, I said, this is my 9th marriage. Okay. I know better.
It's not.
Did you just judge me?
No, but I don't want people to think it was really your 9th marriage.
Okay. It wasn't.
It was your 7th. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
And I said, he would say, I can't have my phone at these parties. I have to leave my phone in the hotel room.
Because that's standard operating procedure.
And I knew right there, I said, something isn't right. Something isn't right about this. And he would say, everything's on the up and up. And I said, it's not. And I told him, I said, I'm going to find out whatever you guys are doing. Something isn't right. He said, you'll never find anything because there's nothing to find. We're the cream of the crop society of the world.
Salt of the earth.
Yep. The most gentle, a jester, Christians, and a jester is a pure, true gentleman. He would say to me, you are lucky beyond lucky to be married to a jester. And I've heard them say that to other wives. I'll claim Reese's biggest fan in New Zealand. Nicole the Kiwi, I love you, girl. I am going to come get you in my Tesla copter.
All alone.
He would shame a little bit us. They would shame the wives. I've heard them all do it, and say things like, I've had jester wives say to me, aren't you so blessed and lucky that your husband, that we are wives of they really indoctrinate. They really sell these women on how lucky we are. And I don't know if it was just from my Scientology training, but I was like, nothing is true. Nothing is true. It's in the South. I'm learning they would call this horse manure.
Yeah.
That's a lot of horse manure.
I'll be right back.
All right. We'll see you later. I've done this before. I'll just take over. What are you guys not concerned about being vulnerable to attack from these rich nutters? I'm not worried about it, but I also don't doubt that that's going to happen. I would not be surprised. We are definitely poking a hornet's nest. But I did that leaving Scientology, and I'm just not afraid of it. I've said this before. If I end up dying over this, then at least it got exposed. That's how I feel about it, honestly. I think sunlight is the best disinfectant. This is nothing short of like a Diddy situation, only it's been around longer than a Diddy situation. Yep. I believe that it's the right thing to do to expose this. So if that's what it takes and they do something to me and I'm suddenly behind bars, or they plant something on me or set me up, I'll do my time, but we'll know that I didn't really commit that crime.
Well, I'm a little concerned because they're all such incredible physical specimens. I mean, this is not a group of guys you'd want to have to tangle with. I mean, you got to see the kind of shape these people are in. I mean, these guys work out a lot. Well,
like me, I'm all about fitness.
Oh yeah, but they got you way beat. No, honestly, people, this is a sad group of people, but we'll get to Vegas here in a second.
Okay. So I'm just trying to catch everybody up a little bit on what this is, because if we just skip to Vegas, there's going to be a ton of people going, what is this? What are you guys talking about?
No, I understand completely.
So I was married to this and with this man for 5 years. Okay. He went to a jester party. It's called JOT, Jesters of Texas. There's a lot of them in Texas. They're in every city. Okay. And he left his computer open that weekend. That he left by accident. Hey, alley-oop. And I
got busy.
Yeah, I got busy. I got busy for about 72 hours. I don't think I'm pretty sure I didn't blink. And I took photos of everything that I found. And there was about 400 photos of things that I found, conversations, plane tickets he bought for people, pictures of trafficking women. There was a lot of women. There was a whole bunch of jesters, not just him, showing naked photos of women and saying, this one is a mother of two, age 27, non-smoker. We want to get her more involved with us. This one came with us last weekend to the Ohio party, and we want to get her more involved. What does everybody think of this one? This one gives good oral. So there was all, it's basically trafficking, but they're consenting. As far as I know, they're consenting to it. I have met many of these prostitutes at this point. I have reached out to them. One of the ones I've talked to for many, many hours was there. I saw her yesterday. You saw her?
Several times.
Yep. Many, many things occurred here. So here's something that I want to say, just for me. Being married to one of these guys, I was absolutely gaslit, lied to all day long. I would ask about this for years. And I would say, I've seen it. I've seen the proof. I found it in your computer. And he would say, you're nuts. You're insane. Do you hear yourself? These are upstanding gentlemen. You're never going to find proof of that. And I would say, I have proof. And he would say, no, you don't. Nobody's going to believe you. And then he would say things like, do you think you're the first wife in 100 years that found out the truth about this? You will be silenced. And he said, do you want something to happen to you? Something's going to happen to you if you don't shut your mouth about this. So it got violent, it got aggressive, it got abusive. So eventually I was able to leave that situation. Tommy was one of the first people that I shared that with when I first met Tommy a year ago. God, it seems like years.
I know, it's been a rugged year.
But it ended well.
So it ended perfect. No, what I'm saying, we've if you could look back through the last year, it's been incredible.
But one night so Tommy and I have been streaming together for a long time now, since we met.
Yep.
And one night after a stream, I was talking to him and I just said, no, Debbie Zito, she was not. I was talking to Tommy and I said, there's something I want to share with you, but I'm afraid to share it. I'm scared to tell anybody. And he said, I was a convict. We take that pretty seriously. There's something you want to share with me. You can share it. It won't go anywhere. And I told him everything and I kind of lost it and I was really upset and he was just blown away by that. And I told my husband at the time that if anything happens to me, all of the evidence I have, I've given to an attorney, I've given to a couple of close friends, and they all have that evidence. So if something does happen to me, Tommy also has it, of course, but it's pretty safe and sound, especially I feel comfortable with the attorney who has it. I mean,
absolutely.
It's a lot of information that I have, and I haven't shared all of it. I still haven't shared all of it.
Oh no, there's a bunch of it that hasn't been shared.
Yeah. So fast forward to Tommy and I started doing some content on it after I got divorced. We've started little by little exposing these guys.
Yeah. We were. I actually. So if you're really new, I went out there during the time where she was getting ready to separate from this dude because he's a creep. I mean, just keep it real. The dude's creepy.
Well, he's been physically violent with me and my son. So Tommy wasn't comfortable with me moving, getting divorced by myself there. Hey, Katie. So I sent my son away to go with my parents. It was just the start of summer and we got a moving truck and movers and Tommy
I just had a great time, wasn't it? I mean, honestly, there was a lot of laughs out there. It was a little rough, but
it was.
I wouldn't trade it.
He came and he definitely came and saved the day there and made sure that I stayed safe. Thank you, Original Anne. And you got to meet a few of them because they came over. Hey, Mara, they came over to my house at the time to be with the ex-husband. And kind of act like his muscle. Here's the thing with a lot of these guys, or something I didn't say. These guys have been around a long time for very specific reasons. They don't just bring anybody in. You have to make a certain amount of money. But more importantly, these guys are all in a position of power. And when I say power, I know them personally. I have a book with all of their names, what they do for a living, their wife, their date of birth, their address, their phone number. I took that. And most of these guys that they recruit are politicians, judges, police officers, lawyers. That's most of them are judges, cops, lawyers, politicians, almost all of them. Okay. I know personally a very big judge that is a jester. So a lot of these guys are in that kind of position of power for a reason. So do I want to poke this wasp nest? I already have, and I've gotten threats from them. I've received threats already that, don't go any further. You'll be sorry. Things like that. It's too late.
It's too late.
And to be honest, this is so liberating for me because I spent 5 years with someone screaming at me daily. And I have those on recordings, by the way. It's not, I've pretty much secured and safeguarded myself with a lot of evidence. So I've not only got photos, I've got audio recordings of this person screaming at me saying, you better not talk. You're not going to say anything. You're not going to out me. You're not going to out them.
Yep.
there's definitely an angle of this where there's a big position of power. Could they do something? I wouldn't be surprised if you've got enough, politicians in your pocket, things like that.
It would be an error. There's a lot. I mean, I don't think you can imagine how much she's got. And they got to know, because I'm sure that Jack Wagon still got it on his computer. You can go back and look at everything you got, and it'll really get your attention. You know
Humble and kind, yes. And quite honestly, guys, I think this snowballed because of my Scientology. So I came out of Scientology a year and a half ago, and that was not intended. I was accidentally outed by someone with a large channel. I'm glad it happened. We're friends. It's great. He's helped me build my YouTube channel. He's a good person, but it didn't help. I was in two cults in a way, right? So I was
receipts,
Reese with the receipts.
That's it.
I spilled all the Scientology stuff that went on. I would have never talked about that. I would have never discussed all the abuse in Scientology. And there's still some things I haven't talked about. But then come to find out, I didn't realize I was kind of in that cult as well. And I was keeping a lot of secrets, and I was threatened almost daily. You better shut your mouth. You better not talk about this. It's highly, highly, highly controlled, highly secretive organization. And I've seen, I can't tell you how many times I've heard a phone conversation and he would get off the phone and go, "You did not hear any of that. And you will never talk about that." So I think there's way more to this that I don't even know, but I know quite a bit.
But on that subject, so as she started off this conversation, a lot of what she got was disseminated by a guy that had a vested interest in lying there. Right? He wants to keep this party going. All of the husbands have a vested interest in lying to their wives. And from what I've seen, they're all freaking married. Like everybody that I've seen is on a wedding band.
I would say 98% to 99% of these guys are married.
It's amazing how many wedding rings I saw. And they're not pulling them off, right? And I saw them in Vegas, right? This is a big party. And we had talked about this for a long period of time about maybe going out and crashing this bad boy.
So they have these big parties, okay? Some are bigger than others. The one we just attended is their second largest party of the year. That's one of the reasons I had to go to this party. And this is what I want to say. I think I started this and I didn't finish it. I'm so thankful that I went to this party, even though it ended pretty poorly. It got a little bit, I don't want to say scary, but threatening.
It got threatening.
And as we expected, I didn't expect to be welcomed, even though I got a lot of hugs. Just kidding. But I want to say, I feel like I'm on a whole new playing level at this point, because I was so lied to, kind of like Scientology. In a lot of ways, I left Scientology going, what am I supposed to believe now? That's not true. That's not real, right? All the mirth spread around the entire realm, not 1 ounce of mirth. Honesty or empathy to spare for a spouse, you deserved better. New life plan. That's such a kind thing to say, babe. Thank you for that.
Beautifully put.
And thank you for your super chat. It was really kind. As I left Scientology, it was a big shock to me to come out into the real world, meet real people, but also it was the having to unlearn things and go, okay, so I was taught this from birth and now it's not true. So when I was in this relationship with this fellow, I was told so many things. And the purpose was to gaslight me. So he would say, yes, there's prostitutes, but they are miles away. They're not allowed to be anywhere near the party. So he would, yes, but this. So I'd have to connect dots, and I never knew what I was being told was true. However, what's similar there is I was being fed all kinds of things. Pandora's box had been opened, right? I found everything. So he had to come up with some kind of an acceptable, mild manner for me to believe all of it, but enough to where I wasn't going to talk, and enough where he could still threaten me and keep me silent. And it worked, and he did. And I really wanted to talk. And if you go back, a lot of you are new, but some of you who were not, I have said many, many times on my YouTube channel, in my basement where I streamed when I was married to this man, I would say, there's so many things I want to say to you guys, but I can't. There's so many things I can't wait to talk about one day, but I can't. And that's what I was referring to is, I've said this 100 times, I would take Scientology any day. Scientology was warm to me because it's all I knew. This was scary. They intimidated me. They threatened me. It was very scary. I would never want to go back to this kind of a lifestyle. It was frightening. Yes, Rain, I know you do. So when I went to this party this week, and by the way, I got this information from the ex-husband. I would have never known where this party was.
Kind of him. Good looking
Very,
out.
very nice of him. I went to represent.
Yeah.
He is no longer a member.
Sorry.
And so, again, I wanted to go and, stand in. We have similar last names.
Yeah.
And I wanted to stand in for him. And he was happy I did. So
I bet.
Going to this party, I want to point out, before we go into the details of the party, I want to say I was deeply lied to. Everything he told me was the total opposite. And I mean, you saw it firsthand as well.
Absolutely.
I've never seen it firsthand, guys. As long as I've been collecting evidence on this group for 5 years now, I've been collecting, and I've got some good, juicy evidence, okay? Things they don't want you to know about. I've got that. But to see it firsthand was unbelievable for me. It was absolutely unbelievable. And the way they went about it, they trapped us in a way. They absolutely, and I knew the first night we sat down, I said, we have to be prepared for anything. They're going to bait us. They're going to do something. They're going to come up with a plan once they see me. And they did.
They did.
Have you heard from the ex since you went to the party? Absolutely not. No.
Yeah.
I'm from Kansas City, and I know some jesters. Oh yeah, Cyrus Devine. Yeah, I know him. I'm Facebook friends with him. All of you.
I think it's worth mentioning that. I think that she talked about sitting home while he would go out to this. I love that. Well played. But she would talk about sitting home when he would go out to these things. And I don't know if any of you have ever experienced this, but it's like stuff when you're locked up. You get something in your head and you imagine what's going outside on the street or whatever, and you work this. You've got so much time on your hands to work it through, and then when you finally get out and you see it, and you're like, oh my God, it's nothing like what I thought this was going to be. I've been with Reese a long time on this, well, in life and on this issue now, and she had these visions of people in ball gowns, and she had these visions of women in tiaras, and the guys looking like the classiest folks in the world, and they're out on the town, and I been around the block, and I just knew that isn't what I didn't realize how depressing it really was going to be. I figured it would be way better than it was, but it's skeezy.
It's sad.
It is skeezy. It really is.
So let's jump right in here.
Let's do it.
Short note, Carrie, does your son know anything about this? Of course he does. He was the stepson of this man. This man shared a lot. As a matter of fact, this man said to my son, you would make a great jester one day. So he did not. My ex-husband was kind of unusual because he shared a lot with us. I think he felt like he had to at that point once I found everything, if that makes sense. He would have never, I asked him that once. I said, would you have ever told me about all this? He said, absolutely not. But my son is 15, and yes, it was hard to hide that, guys. The Jester memorabilia in my house, it's everywhere.
Cannot imagine.
These guys are incredibly, incredibly proud of who they are, and we had posters.
How about the Harley Davidson in the garage?
Jester Harley Davidson. They wear Jester shirts.
Everything is purple.
They hide in plain sight. It's a super secret society. But you have to know what you're looking for.
It smacks you in the face as soon as you do.
And when we went, if they're willing to threaten and harm you, do you think your ex is in danger? No, I don't think. I mean, I couldn't.
One could hope. I'm kidding.
I don't think so. I think he's still good friends with these guys. As much as they hide in plain sight. And the reason for that is any one of you could have gone to the party we went to over the weekend here. You would have never known because it just looks like another convention in town. You have to know what you're looking for. But if you know what you're looking for,
it's in your face. But you have to know. It's honestly, what's crazy is I was telling Quibs, I have spent a hellacious amount of time in Vegas. Especially this particular weekend. I have probably spoken on this particular weekend a half a dozen times, which means there's no chance in hell. I haven't been around these guys so many times. And I'm sure we went just like this, right by each other. because I wouldn't have,
You wouldn't know.
never have thought about it.
You have to know. They are hiding in plain sight. That's the
Big
only way I
time.
could say it. I said that when we got there and saw the party. I said, they are out in the open. The problem is nobody knows who or what they are. I do. And we got a lot of good footage. You want truffles? You got to get in the dirt with the pigs.
That's right. Can I answer that one? Because I think that there's a great intro for this. Because I saw Quibbs.
James Collins cares. Yeah, it's a good question.
I saw her in a moment of fear while we were out there. So we may as well. We go and we check in. We do all of those things.
I had moments of fear for sure, guys.
It
was scary at first.
I went and bought a bottle of water while I was in there, because we're not gambling, we're not doing any of those things. We were getting ready to leave. We were going to go upstairs first, and then we were getting ready to leave the hotel. So I was going to buy a bottle of water. And the second I walked inside, people came up and started talking to her. I don't know whether they, didn't, but as soon as I was gone, when I came out, there were 3 dudes standing there, and Reese had the look on her face was uncomfortable. It was definitely, it was fear.
Well, they were threatening to me.
And I wanted to crush a few larynx. Yeah, tell them about it. These gentlemen.
They were, guys, I have never felt so watched in my life. I would first of all say probably saw about 100 of them there. Now, there were way more than that. At this particular party, I've been told there's usually close to 1,000. I would guess I saw 100, maybe more, but
there was a ton of them.
There were, I would say I recognized a quarter, 25%. Maybe I recognized and knew who they were. I approached some of them. I said their names by name. I knew a lot of them, but I didn't know all of them. But I knew all who was a jester because they wear jester shirts. They wear jester name tags. Everything's purple. They have a specific walk. They're super dick swingers.
And the majority of them, if not all of them, knew you. Very few
they all
of them.
Knew me.
And the ones that didn't knew you, but didn't know why they knew you.
Charles Ledbetter, welcome. Thank you for being here. I will tell you, I was shaken up the first 12 hours of being there. And honestly, I feel a little, I just went cold talking about this. It makes me a little bit emotional still. They were very much upset that I was there, and I don't think they expected that at all.
They did not expect that at all.
And one of the main guys who I knew, who's really been threatening with me in the past, who was from Kansas City, I came down and he was standing there, and he looked at me and I looked at him, and he went like this. He pretended like he was shooting me. And I kind of went cold. And after that, every single spot I was in that hotel and casino, I felt surrounded. I was surrounded, and there was clusters of them in different corners of the casino. I was on high alert. But they were watching me from every single angle. There was at least 100 guys at all times. Once I was spotted, and once that guy did that to me, I think they had probably some sort of a meeting and said, everybody, not at all. James Collins, you're not triggering. This whole thing is a little bit triggering. This was
cathartic in the long run. I promise you. This was a good thing.
It was. Which casino? We were at the, it was really classy place. The Gold Coast Hotel and Casino in Vegas is where they held the party. They have this party every single year. It's called the branding party. So, Susie too. Yeah, no, we don't think we're going to stop anything.
No, Susie too. Here's the thing. Prostitution is always going to be around, and there's no problem with that. But that's not what we're talking about.
Were we wearing body cams? No, humble and kind. And here's why. I have a privacy attorney that I have retained. And before I went on this trip, I absolutely got with my attorney to find out what was okay and what was not okay. Vegas has a different set of rules with the Gaming Commission. My privacy attorney went down every list of rule for me. You cannot wear any kind of a body cam. You cannot have a hidden camera in Vegas. You will get in big trouble for that. So no, I did not do that. I did not violate any laws. I was well versed on them because of my attorney, thankfully. So,
and as far as the previous question, don't confuse what we're talking about. If this was just prostitutes selling their bodies or whatever, that's the oldest profession. I get it. That's not what this is. This is a group. I did a deep dive on one of these courts in the US, one, and keep in mind, there's hundreds of these puppies, but one of them had $150K in just fees for the year, tax-free. Multiply that by every single court in the US, and all they're doing is riding free on tax-free exempt status like a church.
They are tax exempt.
So that they can have prostitutes who literally are second and third generation now. If you are a second generation prostitute going into something, are you consenting? If mom's a prostitute for these people and you were raised in it, is that consent? This is creepy stuff at a level I don't think you can wrap your dome around. So don't confuse this with just run-of-the-mill prostitution. If that's all it was, I wouldn't give a crap. I wouldn't be talking about it.
So Tommy went to the little gift shop area to get some, we're just going to give little things that happened here. He went to the gift shop to get water, and just what I'm saying is I was so hardcore watched. The second Tommy got 15 feet away from me, I was standing close, and there were three of them, approached me, and they said, hey, little girl, awfully brave of you to be standing there alone without your convict. And I was shaking. I was really freaked out, but I didn't do anything. I knew I was in a public spot. And if I had to, I was just going to start yelling. And I knew Tommy would be right back. And I said, it is brave of me. Yeah, it is. And they said, yeah, so brave. They said, why don't you come upstairs to our party up there and we'll show you a party. And I said, okay, where's my boyfriend? Yeah. And as soon as Tommy stepped 1 foot out of that gift shop, they were on an elevator to go up. And at one point, Tommy, you were talking to your son and you said, I'm going to step over here. He stepped over for a second and one of them walked past me and went, C-U-N-T. He said the word C-U-N-T. And that was it. The
classiest of classiest. But I'll tell you what, these candy asses literally, they don't stick around if there's a dude around. They're not.
Security guard fund for the next outing. If more streamers can go to stream each other, it will be more safe. That's a good point.
I agree with
Better
you.
together.
Thank
you for your super
I really
chat,
appreciate
my friend.
That. That's solid.
And then at one point, one of them walked past me and said, I always hated your husband. That was in the very beginning. Some of them walked past me and kind of did this. I think some of them were kind of happy for
the guy that was playing the slot machine. Looked like he wanted to say hello to you. You know what I'm talking about?
I did say hello to him. I walked over to him.
He just looked like he really he wanted to be friendly but couldn't.
He was an extra next time.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, it's funny that you say that.
I want to say though, he was a good friend of my husband's from Nashville, and he was playing the slot machine. And I went over to him and I said, "Hey," and I said his name, and he said, "Hey, Reese, how you been, girl?" And I said, "Good. How have you been?" He said, "Real good." Some of them were not rude or scary to me. The ones that I had met before, some of them weren't bad, but one of them came up and said, "I always hated your husband." That was hilarious. And then one of them, two of them came up to me, second gen workers. Yes. Two of them came up to me and,
one was a lady.
Well, that was a separate time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Two of them were guys and came up to me and said, it was so weird. He said, that he named my ex-husband and he said, cheated on you at every one of these fucking parties. And I said, no, I didn't know that. He told me he didn't cheat. And he said, what do you think he was doing here? And you fucking deserved it. How many years was your ex a jester? So one of them was a jester for 50 years. One of them was for going on 15 now. Yeah. It sounds as if the police are complicit with the jesters. Is that the case?
Now we got to be careful because when it came to us, right? Now, listen, absolutely. There are places all over the U.S. where the police are tied up because they are jesters. And I believe that is rampant, but that's not what happened.
Doesn't mean they all are. Yeah, no. And it doesn't mean they all are. There are jester cops for sure. I've met them.
I did too, actually.
Yes, you did. Who is Kelly? Kelly is a jester prostitute. She's been a prostitute for decades, many, many decades. She's one of their oldest jester prostitutes. And you have to understand, all of these prostitutes are jester only. They don't do it anywhere else any other time. They follow these parties everywhere. She was there. And at first she winked at me and was fine. And then yesterday she flipped out on me.
She wasn't very nice.
She screamed from afar. And she said, Reese, what the fuck are you doing here?
I think the difference was.
And I said, what are you doing here? I was told you have to be in a different hotel. I'm here for research purposes.
But the first day she had a
The
boyfriend.
prostitutes are not married.
The first day she had a boyfriend with her, which is probably why she didn't yell.
Humble and kind, I did not. The first day she had a man with her.
Yes.
And I said her first name as the man walked by. And the man looked at me, looked at her, and went, "What the fuck?"
They're a classy group, people.
Yeah. So was Kelly born into this? Good question, Kristen S. I don't know.
I don't either.
They were very threatening. So the last stream, I don't know how many of you were in my last stream. That was 2 days ago. Okay. Tommy and I were outside
Sitting on a bench
of the Gold Coast Hotel, sitting on a bench. If you recall, if you were there. Okay. Yes. Peaceful drama. I went to a Jester party. I got to go to my first Jester party. I've never seen it before. Okay. And then I want to we're going to talk about this. And then I want to go back and talk about the start of the party. This reminds me of when I was cornered in the library by my ex. He tried to blackmail me to go back to Scientology. Allegedly, I was stopped from going up the bridge. That is total. And that's Arwa. I'm so sorry that happened to you, girl. It's not fair. It's not right. None of that's right. Thank you for your super chat, Arwa. Thank you, Tamber June. So for those of you that were there on the last stream we did, and that was called Hunting for Royal Order of Jesters, something like that. I hit the X on my phone. Okay. I said goodbye to all of you. I hit the X. There was a cop and
I think they might have both been cops, but one had on a uniform that looked like a cop and the other just had like a badge on his hip.
Yeah. And like black. Okay. Yeah. They were standing there waiting. He was watching. I didn't know. They were in front of me waiting when I was done streaming. Okay. Yeah. And meanwhile, behind these cops where the hotel front doors are, there was like
a lot of purple.
18 jesters. There was like 18 jesters standing there smiling, watching. It was so uncomfortable.
It was uncomfortable.
These cops approached me and they came up to me and they weren't talking to him. And they said,
do you know why we're here?
Nope, that's not what they said to me.
What did they say?
He said, let me see your IDs. And I said, okay. And I got it out. I said, what's the problem? And he said, why do you think we're here? And I said, I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. I'm not sure. Why do you think that I think that you think that he's here? I was trying to confuse them back, you know. I'm so glad Tommy was with you. I was nervous the whole time. Amy Edge, same. But he said, why do you think that we're here? And I said, I don't know. We went into the public areas, Mara. They have private parties. No one's allowed in. Those are doors sealed. They always have the doors sealed with off-duty cops when they have private parties. Yeah. No one's allowed into those. So I said, I don't know. That's why I'm asking. The guy was really condescending with me.
He was kind of a dick.
And I said, I don't know.
His name was Sherman. Sorry.
So
just saying. If we're gonna I give his last name.
Thank you, Caroline in Canada. So I give him the ID and I said, I'm staying in this hotel. And he said, really? What room number? And I gave him the room number and I handed him my hotel key card. And they were tan uniforms. One of them had a tan uniform. Yes. Yeah. Sherman the Vermin. You had to do it.
I'm sorry.
So he tried to give me a hard time at first. Meanwhile, there's lined up jesters behind him watching.
Having a good time.
Yeah. And I said, what's the problem? I said, I'm streaming on public property. And he said, no,
nope,
you're not. And he said, you're harassing the Royal Order of Jester party. And I said, how am I harassing them? I haven't even talked to them. And he said, this is private hotel property. And if you are caught so much as pulling your phone out to take photos, streaming, anything like that, again, you'll be trespassed and removed from the property.
Right.
And I said, okay, pulling out our phone. He said, you will not pull out your phone.
Don't take pictures. Don't record stuff. Don't harass these people. Any of that.
Right. And I said, okay, that's fine. That's fair. And the guy that was with him said, do you see that green grass over there? And I said, yes. And he said, you can stream outside of that green grass. That is no longer our property here. And I said, okay, fine. Fair enough. That's fine. So they walked away and Tommy and I just looked forward and all these purple line of shirts were standing there smiling. And so I just smiled back. What are you supposed to do? They are terrified. They do not want this being talked about, guys. And it got real clear, real fast. It got creepier. It got incredibly creepy and incredibly dark the second those cops walked away. And that's what we're going to get into right now. Humble and kind, I don't think so, but I'm scared. You want me to try the salty licorice?
Oh yeah, no, I think you'll dig that.
Okay, we can do a challenge.
No, you'll love it.
I do love salt.
Then this should be perfect.
Next time when you say goodbye, just leave it running and holding it like you're not. Imagine if you caught the conversation. Yes, I know. Here's the thing. Thank you for your super chat, Humble or Better Together. Here's the thing, guys. I'm not willing to. I wasn't willing to go live again. That's why you didn't see me again. And it got really, really scary after that. We were going to stay in that hotel last night. We were going to stay another night.
Yep.
And we already had that night where that was going into evening where those guys came, and that night was already paid for. And I was like, we're leaving after this. I'm not comfortable. I was so uncomfortable in my skin at that point. And here's why. This is where the trap happened. So those cops threatened us, right? The second, and I'm not kidding, it's like they had this performance ready to go.
It looked choreographed.
The second we went back in, it's like they all knew we couldn't have our phones out. We were told no phones. So the second we went into this hotel, it lit up with debauchery so much because we couldn't do anything.
First person we saw had a chick with him with fishnet stockings on.
The hookers came out in droves, and I mean droves. There were hookers everywhere. They were taking pictures of me, by the way.
Yeah,
there
with
were
their flash on.
There were hooker women walking around doing this. There were people laughing, taunting us. One of them said something to you about being a convict. Oh, he said, I bet you wish you could stream this, you fucking convict. Yeah, they were ready to rock and roll. And it was great because I was like, it doesn't matter. We're still going to go on our show and talk about what you said. We may not be able to stream it. We can still use our voice and talk about what we saw and what we heard.
I could paint a good picture. Keep talking.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, like women in the shortest skirts, the lowest tops, fishnet stockings, like all these things came down, and all these men had wedding rings on. And remember the guy that walked by us, and he went and he smacked her on the ass. I mean, one of them grabbed, like totally.
It was just foul,
they were doing it on purpose in front of us because they knew we couldn't do anything. So it was like the dirtier they could make it, the better off they were. And they were just grabbed. Like one of them was
foul.
just,
it really was. It would have got your attention. And look, I'm not a prude. I've been around the block, but it was just. And the other thing is, she's been lied to believe that these people aren't even allowed in the hotel, right? They got to stay blocks away. The guys never walk around with anything that says that they're a jester on it because they wouldn't want to embarrass. She's been fed this line of shit.
I don't think it is Miss Sunrise Dawn.
So then we see, when you see this and the guy's got Jester big as hell across his shoulder, every single person was wearing something that said, what did it say? Cruise? Bilican Cruise Lines.
Well, my husband's had 50 Jester shirts. You have to wear them to these events. You can't wear a regular shirt. You have to be identified as a Jester. So you have to wear them. My husband, Jason, and I love watching you guys. Reese, Jason loves your watch. That is so cool. Caroline in Canada, cool. Thank you. And Robin had a question. What would have happened if you only recorded them on your Apple Watch? So Robin, I spoke with my privacy attorney. That was an absolute no. There was no hidden device recordings in Vegas per the Gaming Commission. I checked all the rules out, the laws out, weeks before I went to this party. I wanted to be completely secure because you know what, guys? I'm glad I did that. Had I not known the laws, my attorney said, these guys are going to push to the limit of getting you arrested. Like I wanted to get some of those glasses with a hidden camera in it. And my attorney was like, no way. That's super illegal. You do not want to do.
The Gaming Commission, you don't mess with.
No. So I was on the up and up, and I'm glad I was. And so once those cops said that to us, Tommy was like, well, maybe we can. And I said, we're not doing a thing. No photos. You are not. We went to dinner that night. We put our phone. He put his phone in his pocket. I put mine in my purse. I didn't even have my phone out. I was not going to push and play with fire there because that's what they want us to do.
Oh, Holly Day. Anybody could open up a camera and film. If you're taking a selfie or anything else, you're allowed to do that until they think you're filming a sex cult that's renting there. And then they just said, we can refuse service to anybody. If we see you taking a picture of anybody, if we see you playing with your phone and looking like you're recording anything, you're going to be gone and you're going to be $86.
Yes, Robin. Audio is treated the same as video. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The hookers are filming so they can traffic me later.
Yeah.
Did you get Tommy at Chipotle? Tommy doesn't. I'm the only person that likes Chipotle in our family, in the Scoville family. It's really annoying.
I had a bad experience.
One time.
Yeah. I had a bad experience.
I couldn't be more upset right now. That's what sends me over the edge.
I'm just saying I had a bad experience. experience.
You make me eat
It
stuff.
wasn't the only bad experience. We talked about this. That was my second bad experience. The first one I brought up.
I have to sacrifice things for you. I can't think of one, but still, I'm sure there's got to be something.
Sure.
If you'd help me.
I'll work on it.
Yeah. So guys, it went from like creepy, but after this happened,
it was just Sodom and Gomorrah.
Unbelievable. Like they jumped on every time we went to get on an elevator. It was like they were chasing us. They were following us everywhere. They were a step ahead of everything we were doing. We went down on purpose. I'd never been in a casino to gamble or do any of that. I didn't gamble, but he did. He went down and I was just watching. I was purposely just people watching. I felt like I was in the ocean, and I like put on goggles and looked out, and there were sharks like everywhere around me. I just felt like, yeah, it was absolutely everywhere I looked, they were watching me. They were like standing behind slot machines. There was a few at the bar. They were all, why did you give the guy your room number? He was a police officer.
Sorry, but yeah, there's not much option for that. He is an officer, and he's with a security guard from the facility. So we didn't have a whole lot of option on that one.
Yeah.
What on earth can you do to stop these guys? Well, here's the deal. And this is an excellent question. It's probably the best question. The way that these scumbags work, you have to invite new people every single year to a secret society, right? And logic dictates in 2025, if somebody comes up and says, hey, can't talk to anybody about this, but we've got this group of guys and it's a very select thing and nobody knows about it, but we would like to invite you to the Royal Order of Jesters. What's the first freaking thing you're going to do, man? You're going to Google that puppy. You're going to get on this. And if you do now, you don't get a lot. There's just not a lot out there. They have flown under the radar because people, like the earlier comment, it's just prostitution. I mean, who cares? What's the big deal? It is a systematic party. This is RICO stuff, right? For those who understand the concept, this is a racketeering, influenced, corrupt criminal organization. That's what it is, right? These are the rackets: prostitution, gambling, drugs, everything that these guys do every single weekend, tax-free around the U.S.
What exactly is a branding party? It's got something to do with the rodeo being in town, but I have no idea. Also, I want to bring up the big party that we kind of ruined in August is called the Lake Party. They have that every other year at the Lake of the Ozarks, and it's one of their biggest sex parties in particular. Tommy and I were hardcore promoting that party on our YouTube channels, and that party I have some inside sources. I've had quite a few people reach out to me that are a part of this group under the radar. And they had over 1,000 people registered to go to that party. By the time we were done streaming it, 300 showed up. They backed out. But here's the thing. We were told there was going to be a bartender driven there by a Jester judge who had cocaine bringing it to the party.
Yeah.
We called authorities and they got arrested. The girl got arrested. The coke was found. The judge didn't get arrested, but it was so funny. The judge was in Vegas. He was in Vegas. And
he was that far away.
He was that far away. He came. So Tommy and I were sitting in a restaurant eating, and this guy came up and sat right to the closest chair he could sit by with Tommy and I. And he flipped around. He went, so you're the two that tried to ruin our lake party. And I said, Your Honor, I get that all the time. I am not who you think I am. I must have that face.
Bear a striking resemblance.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Yeah, too funny though. And I mean, if you were to look at the restaurant that we were sitting in, to sit where this guy did, I mean, you ever, you're in a parking lot and there's not a car for 500 miles and some idiot pulls next to you. You're like, why would you do that? Well, this is exactly what it was.
He sat at the bar. We were in a booth right by the bar. Okay. And this guy, every chair was open. I took a picture. Literally. Every chair was open. Okay. And he sat right next to Tommy. Yeah. And I said, oh, we got a dick swinging judge.
With a shirt on that said Bilican Cruise Lines. She snapped an excellent picture.
Yeah. He had a shirt that said Bilican Cruise Lines. I said, I got a cruise for you right here, Dickie. What are you hoping to achieve, Reese? Your life is better without these Colts, Scotty. We're both okay. What am I hoping to achieve? That's a great question. Landon Arundel. So what I think that I would like to do, that girl got kicked out. Hello, Coco. The girl with the cocaine got kicked out until she gets her cocaine record cleaned up. She is not back with the Jesters.
Because they're stand-up guys. They can't have something
They
like
don't want that. Yeah. Once you get busted, you can't come back.
No.
What am I attempting here? So more than Tommy here, he wants it because he wants, of course, you know, things to be brought to light, and so do I. I was true to it. That is so kind. Thank you for that. Just Freedom of requested info request on 911. I can't wait to hear a bunch of scared old men calling about this girl with a cell phone. That's hilarious. They probably did. Yeah, they probably did.
They had to call somebody.
They were furious that we were there. You could smell the irate just behavior coming off of them was insane. Okay, so my big thing, hey, happy thoughts. My big thing is I was silenced for so long. I would sit, my husband at the time would go to these parties, okay? And don't forget, I have so much on this.
I don't think you can imagine.
So I knew all of this that was going on. I knew it in my head. I knew it in my heart. I saw the evidence of it. And he would go for 5 days at a time to these parties. And I did not work. And I would sit at home and I would not sleep. And I would rock back and forth and I would tear up my finger. I would bleed. I could not do anything. I was so distraught. Scientology didn't do anything to me compared to this. This nearly broke me. This nearly mentally broke me. He would come home from these parties smelling like whatever.
Yes.
And I would be so angry. And he would say, get it the fuck out of your head. You're fucking crazy. None of that went on. Come talk to me when you're done being a fucking bitch. That's what he would say to me. So I would go through 5 days of sitting, worrying, freaking out. He didn't have his phone. We couldn't talk. I knew what was going on. There's so many sex parties that go on. There's blowjob contests. These guys push beds together to have contests. It's horrible. And it absolutely destroyed me. Okay. So what do I expect, Lynn Arundel? I feel so much better sharing that. Finally, I was silenced. I was told you will never talk about this or something will happen to you. So there's two key elements here. One, I want this shit exposed, and I'm hoping that it's like the Diddy thing. You shed some light on this. It's like Scientology. You pull back the curtain enough, you expose this enough, and these guys are worse because you can't find a thing online. Scientology, you can find some things. This you can't find, okay? So I really want to share what I have, and it feels so good to be able to do it without having a guy that having a good guy with me versus someone that's threatening me. So I think this needs to be exposed. I hope that it stops them in their tracks. I hope that they're scared. I hope that it's harder and harder and harder for them to have these parties.
Right.
Okay. So I don't understand why Jeff got married. Okay. So I think I have a good answer for that. Optics. Yeah. Absolutely. These guys are married. And I think whenever I would go to these parties, that there was one female wife party a year that was allowed. Those guys would come up and grope me, grab me on the ass. I had one time I went to a party and I had pigtails. And it was like a very casual party. And the guy grabbed me by the pigtail. Jeff was there and he said, "You look like a schoolgirl in that." He said, "And I like it." I've had guys put their lips on my ears, and so they treat women like objects, okay? I want that to stop. I would like these wives to not be in fear. All those things. You can imagine.
There you go.
Huh? Okay, I'll get to her. I feel like, oh yeah, there she is. I love you, Tony Suter. I hope you had a good birthday. For making at least a couple of Jesters, Twitch probably had a lot of requests for extra blue pills. We brought some for them.
No
Just
problem.
Kidding.
No, you know what? And I want to answer that.
Nicole. Thank you, Nicole, for being a member. Was there another one from Tony Suter?
No, we have the opportunity. This is a year. I don't know if you caught my last show, but this is a year where all of the BS that's been happening on planet Earth is starting to get exposed. You know, we saw the guy from Abercrombie and Fitch that was systematically molesting, right? 17 and 18 and 19-year-old boys. And then we saw what's happening with Diddy and hundreds of people in this ST, right? This, you know what, trafficking, that term just keeps coming up, right? This, you can say, well, it's hookers. If it's a second generational hooker, she's being teed, right? That's exactly what's going on, because now you're not talking about someone that's consenting. You don't know any other world. There's no consent. Or if you say, well, they're exclusively working for these guys, which means that their life depends on these men saying you can live. Because if not, we cut you off. You got nothing and you have they've been in there 20 years, 30 years. To me, that's coercion, which makes it T. Even if it's not, This is really a criminal enterprise. And this is the year that light disinfects all that crap. And if nobody else does it than us, then this is going to be one that flies under the radar.
Thank you, Joe.
Like Diddy did during Me Too, right? If enough light got shined, we wouldn't be doing this every 4 years. So this seems like a pretty good time to start bringing this stuff to light. That's how I think it is.
And I want to answer this for Miss Sunrise Dawn. Did seeing it all in person make it even more real? So real that I haven't really slept since I left. It was almost too much to take, if that makes sense. The guy that walked by me and said, by the way, your husband cheated on you all the time and you deserved it. I think one of the things that hurt for me is how many times over the years he would come home and say, I have audio recordings of him saying, I don't partake in that. I don't do it. And he had me convinced because I'm young. I was 27 years younger than him. And he would say, you think I want to fuck those girls when I can come home to this for free? Now that's not a compliment. I realized that it would tear me down every time he said it, but he would always say, I know which side my bread is buttered on. And that was enough for me to try to convince myself. Rain. And I ran into one of the prostitutes that I know. She has since blocked me on Facebook. I ran into her right before the elevator and I said hello and I said her name. This was not the one that we call Kelly. And I said, one of the guys here yesterday told me that Jeff cheated on me all the time. And I would like to hear it from the mouth of someone who actually comes here for those purposes. And she said, why do you think he was here? And I said, is that a yes? And she said, he cheated on you all the fucking time. And it was really real. So Miss Sunrise Dawn, it was very real. It was something I needed to hear. I have since moved on. I've gotten all the closure I need. That man hates me. He has tried to destroy me online and say all kinds of lies about me. And that's why, because he's trying to misdirect what he's guilty of. And he's not only guilty of being a jester, he's guilty of putting hands on his wife and his 14-year-old stepson.
He's a hero. Solid dude.
They don't all wear capes.
You're right, Trish. It screams RICO. And it's not just prostitution. If it was, I promise you, I wouldn't be talking about this. But I want to tell you something. If you've got people that have been prostitutes for one group of people for 30 years, and that's literally every penny they make, there are generational prostitutes in this. Do you understand this as a concept? It's like a second gen Scientologist. Someone earlier said there's no point in comparing Scientology to the Jesters, Reese, because Scientology was all you knew. These are two control groups. You understand? What happens is once somebody becomes a Jester, this is what is alleged. At your initiation, there's a prostitute involved. What that means, no one really can tell.
They take photos, though,
but
so
they
can
take
blackmail you.
photos. And allegedly, sometimes you're blindfolded through this too. So there are times that it might not be a woman that's performing something on you while they're snapping photos. They get these people into positions. These are control groups, right? And whether or not there's a God component may get the verbiage different between cult and control group. But what these guys are doing is absolutely cult-like behavior in every way. They cut everybody off. Her husband didn't have a friend that wasn't in this.
No,
not one.
It's just like Scientology.
It's just like Scientology.
Scientology,
Really
your dentist is a Scientologist. Your plumber is a Scientologist. You don't do your employer is a Scientologist.
Right.
This is the same thing. They get so deeply involved.
Every person they hang with, everybody.
And all of these guys are mostly entrepreneurs, and they pay through their company for these trips. They call them networking trips. And I'm sure there's some tax issues there. I don't know the answer to that, Sarah Bowman, but hold on just a second. I will star that. Do you think having so many high-profile judges, attorneys, etc., emboldens these creeps and makes them? Yeah, absolutely, I do. They think they're God. These guys were walking around, literally strutting, looking at us, going, "Hey, you fucking convict!" Like we were on their turf for sure, and they felt very, very.
Oh my God, Sophia! Jimmy Seville was a jester. God help us.
I don't know if there's minors involved, Motherbird. Not that I'm aware of. Not that I've seen. I couldn't answer that. I don't know.
Allegedly in Europe, they've got a real problem with minors. That is a fact. Now, in the US, that's something that can't be backed up. Now, how do you get the tax exempt status of somebody like this taken down? Just like this. It starts with people talking. And then you know what happens? Then people start to link in and they start telling everybody where these parties are. And other people start showing up and making these guys uncomfortable. And the next thing you know, they can't get a new class. These guys are not young men. Right? The average people in this group, what would you say the average age
Well,
is?
that's because they've been around 100 years. A lot of these guys are much older. They're in their 70s, 80s, and 90s. So every
need new
year,
blood.
yeah, they got to get new, younger guys in. And they do. I've met all the new guys. A lot of them are young attorneys in Kansas City. One of them was a homicide detective. I've met their wives. I have a whole book on these guys, their names, their addresses, everything.
We need to make it harder for them to recruit without people knowing what it is they are, right?
And I think it helps even you guys watching this, of course, share this video. I don't know how to share, but share it, spread it around. We are going to continue and we're going to get on bigger platforms to talk about this as well. This is not just going to be my little channel, his little channel. We're going to get on big channels.
Kestrel, do send me anything you got on that, please, Kestrel. Anything you've got on, but yeah, if Jimmy Seville was involved too, boy, oh boy, does that make the story a lot different. God help us, does it?
Nothing says old fashioned like nothing says networking like an old fashioned D-sucking contest.
Yeah.
Renby,
It's a bonding thing.
it's you had to be there.
I got no desire to bond with anybody that much.
And, you know, I will say this. I've had many, many, many hours of grilling my ex-husband, guys. You know me. I'm not quiet. You can threaten me all day long.
Love it, Mike.
I had asked him so many times about this, and he said, you would be an excellent jester hooker. They would love you. You're beautiful. You're young. You've got the body for it. They love it. And I said to him once, I said, what would it take for me to do that? And he said, it would break you mentally. You couldn't do it. He said, you would have to take at least 20 men a day to go to a party. You'd have to do at least 20 a day at a party. And I nearly threw up my spleen. I know that this is a very serious subject, but Reese looks hot. Wow.
I agree.
Tim, thank you so much. I have extremely dirty hair today. Really appreciate that. You're doing such an amazing job. Expose the pervs. Thank you, Happy Thoughts.
You know what? Here's the problem is, if the light doesn't get shined on this in any way, we'll be 25 years down the road and people will be going, so how do we get their tax exempt status taken out?
Matt's mom, as sick as the Jesters are and moral issue, what would take them down? Diddy drugged and are children, women, men. What will their downfall be?
Okay, well, there's about a 6-pack of things that could take them down. Number one, when you pay for somebody to go across state lines for the purpose of engaging in sex, right? It's a violation of something called the Mann Act. And it's not going to land you in prison for more than 3 or 4 years if they prosecute and convict. But the thing is, what they have here is a RICO case, because every single week, a tax-exempt party is being thrown. Illegal gambling, right? Booze and hookers. That's the rackets. These guys are throwing a party so that they can have gambling and hookers, and they're doing it tax-free. That's a problem.
And this is a good point. You are so many people who've said this. All I know, many rabbit holes I've been down, I've never heard of the Jesters. Guys, they are super, super secret. Not anymore. And we're just going to keep exposing that. They hate. That's why they did this with the cops. That's why they did this. And then they all of a sudden got all these girls out on the floor and they were showing us a little bit of a taste. They were showing us a glimpse of what they do.
I can't imagine what it's like upstairs.
They knew we couldn't take our phones out.
Yeah.
They were taunting us on purpose. These guys do not want this exposed. I promise. I think there's way more than I know, but I know there's drugs involved. I know there's trafficking involved. That prostitute, Kelly, was so angry yesterday. She screamed from the lobby.
Yeah.
She screamed at me for being there. She was so angry. These guys were if you could have seen the looks on their faces, they were so pissed. And everywhere I turned, it's like I said, there were sharks everywhere. I looked every single where and there were eyeballs on me. It was insane. And it was terrifying at the same time. Leanne, thank you for becoming a member.
All right. Appreciate you.
So I've got some starred questions I want to go back to.
Okay. And if I could just say real quickly while you're getting to them.
There's one.
The saddest thing that I've ever seen in my life was was to look at this. While we were eating the first night, while we could still take pictures, there was a guy over there repairing a hat. sitting at a table. He had to have been in his 70s.
They were all alone.
Alone. 4 guys in a restaurant, all jesters, all sitting at separate tables, like all this fellowship crap that they talked about. And there's 4 guys sitting alone eating, and this old man trying to fix his hat.
Most of them are with women. And they all had rings on. They all had hookers on their arms, and they were with women.
Except the ultra old. There
was a few there that were probably in their 90s.
And then other than the really ultra old, all of them seemed to be with women.
Mm-hmm. Especially after the police arrived.
Especially after we were.
Why don't the Shriners clamp down on this? They are Shriners. They are Shriners. What is that?
That's a FedEx truck.
FedEx truck.
Johnny Scoville.
Hey, Asen. Question. Reese, did your husbands know each other? The odds on you being married to 2 of these dudes must be astronomical. So sorry. Thank you. Karen Dawson. Yes, they knew each other very, very well. As a matter of fact, so my husband that was involved for a long time passed away. And my most recent husband would always say he gifted her to me. He said that all the time to all of his Jester friends. He gifted her to me, which again, if you understand the dynamic, women are objects. Women are absolute objects in this organization. I went to, are they closely connected to the Freemasons? They are Freemasons. You have to be a Freemason to be one. Fred didn't ever say that. He said that about Fred. Yes, absolutely. Tony Suter, if this had been my attorney said, if this had been in any other state, we would have been fine.
Yep, exactly.
I went to probably 24 Jester funerals during the course of that marriage. They would come up and grab my ass cheeks so hard. I had one grab me on the boob. They absolutely, there's like some unspoken or maybe spoken agreement that the wives are also not off limits, right?
Correct.
Humble and kind, I agree. I had another question that I wanted to get to. James Collins cares. It's amazing the strength you're showing by going to witness this and doing what you can to expose them. Thank you, Tommy, for standing with Reese and being in our corner. You guys can do this. That's so kind of you.
It's funny that you say that. Because I'm going to have to let Reese stand alone here for a minute. I just cannot sit anymore.
You're back?
Yeah. I mean, I've reached the boiling point for staying in the seated position.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to get up here and walk around. I'm sorry, but I'm dying.
Okay. He's been, as everybody knows, I've been rubbing his back like crazy. Yeah, he's been really hurting. Guys, there are going to be more Jester parties. I know the locations of them. Okay. So, Puppy Paws, thank you for being a member too. So nice to see you both enjoying each other. We would like to go to more of these parties. There's going to be more. There's some pretty big ones. Hey, Alicia. Yeah, I agree with you, Alicia. I'm in awe of your strength, babe. I love you, Denise. That's my lawyer friend, Denise. Yes, happy thoughts. Thank you, Leanne. Thank you for becoming a member. Ashley, this has been reported to the cops many, many times. The problem is some of the cops are Jesters. Dirty people always love to hide behind helping kids. That's Helena. That's an interesting point of view, and I don't disagree. Yes, Puppy Paws. Thank you, Joanne Hawley. It had to be so scary and disgusting at the same time. I'm so happy you both are out there safe and sound. It was really, thank you, Joe Mama. Yeah, I've been really giving him a lot of deep back rubs, but he's having trouble. Off topic, but Reese, I think that's my favorite lip stain color. Thank you. Wow, Kristen Melinda. Thanks, babe. That's so kind. Just back to Tommy, of course, was not fearful, right? This really it was pretty shaky for me. I have been, it's similar, like I say, to Scientology in that I was fed so much. With the Jesters, I was fed and told how it goes. So for me to go see this for myself, here, I guess I should I don't know if he's coming back, so maybe I should just angle this more if he comes back. For me to see this firsthand for myself, especially after the Thank you, Humble and Kind. That's where I got it, actually. Especially, he does, Robert Hall. After the police came, they really wanted us to get a taste of what those parties are like. And when those men came and said, he said, "Hey, little girl," there were 3 of them, and they said, "Hey, little girl, awfully brave of you to be out without your convict." And I said, "Yeah, real brave of me." And they said, "Why don't you come upstairs with us to a party?" They said, "We'll show you how a jester party really goes." And I have to be honest, that was really uncomfortable for me. And it gave me rape vibes for sure. I felt very threatened. Like, come up to that party and we'll show you what a real jester party looks like. And I got vibes of like, if I were to go with them, we're going to do some things to you that you're going to pay for what you've done. It was extremely, it made me feel how I felt when I was married to that before, when I would go to some of the parties I was allowed to go to, and they would grab me, grope me, say really sick, perverted things to me. And I would tell my husband at the time that happened, and he would say, "Well, I didn't see it." So, and you know him, he would brush it off every single time. "I didn't see it," or "He's a friend of mine. You're fine." I felt so threatened even at the time and violated, and there was nobody there to give a shit. And so I am so thankful for Tommy Scoville, because he is such a better person. He would never allow that. I felt totally safe with him there. Every time I'm with Tommy, I feel safe. I never, ever worry when I'm with him. I never worry. No, it was not okay. And it was gross and to be expected, I suppose, but just to come up and be so threatening and say, "Hey, little girl, you're awfully brave," better together. Tommy, who is that Jimmy guy? Reese, now that you saw the working girls, do you know they aren't prettier than you? There were so many, all Masons are jesters. Yes, Leanne, you have to be a Mason to be a jester. There were so many working girls, that some that I recognized, some that I did not. Now, I knew that they were with them because they were on the arms of these guys. Now, I was lied to during my whole marriage. I was told working girls are nowhere near allowed these parties. They are not allowed anywhere near the building of these parties. The working girls have to be off the property in another hotel, is what I was told. Not the case. They were all over the floor. They were all over walking around with these guys. All these guys had wedding rings on, slapping girls on the ass in front of me. It was absolutely maddening to see that, because I was so lied to about it. It was pretty unbelievable. But Tommy would tell you if he was here, those girls were so angry with me for being there. You could absolutely tell they were furious. One of them, like I said, screamed at me in a hotel lobby. The other one said Jeff cheated on me. And of course he fucking did. It is hard for me to trust a little bit, but Tommy is definitely somebody I trust. I mean, he is someone I absolutely, Joel Sachs, I love you. If Fred was a jester for so many years, why do you have such positive feelings for him? Just curious. Kathy O'Toole, thank you, Brock. It's just a matter of, he wasn't involved in it when I got with him. Now, did he do disgusting things and get involved? And he was one for 50 years. My guess is yes, but I don't know. And I know that every time there was a jester party, I would say to Fred, "Do you want to go?" Because I didn't know anything about him at the time. I thought they were upstanding guys. He would say, "Nope, I'd rather be with you." He did not want to be there. He did not want to go. So I only got that version of Fred. That's why I have a better feeling. And Fred never mistreated me. He never, one time that we went to a party at his friend's house who was a jester, and the guy was rude to me. And Fred flipped out on this guy. And he said, "That's my wife. God damn it. You give her the respect she deserves." He was very angry. He was nothing like my other husband. And we turned around and left. And he had been friends with this guy forever. And I said, "It's okay." And he said, "It's not okay." And I said, they're your friends. And he said, I'll get new friends. He was so pissed at the way that guy disrespected me. So they were not the same person at all. As far as him being a jester, I don't know how he was as a jester. I don't know. He didn't partake in anything. Robin, question, do you think that protesting Shriner hospitals would be the beneficial to help? No. The thing is, there's so many good Shriners. So no, I don't believe that, Robin. Thank you for being a member, babe. I hope you're in the Zoom call. It's so hard. Jesters are worldwide, because when I would go to Shriner parties, before we entered the doors of the party, my husband would say to me, do not talk about the jesters here. And I would say, how many are here? And he'd go, there'd be 300 Shriners at this party, let's say. Usually that was about the number. He'd say, there's 4 jesters at this party. Don't talk about the jesters. We were never allowed to talk about the jesters around Shriners or Masons, because they didn't often even know what the jesters were. It's super secret, guys. It's hush, hush. It's by invite only. Kimberly Room, welcome. Thank you for being here. So that's my answer as far as Fred goes. Just 2 totally different men. One had way more respect for me, and that's the only way I can look at that. He didn't partake in jester activities. Now, again, he probably did some sleazy things. He might have, right? But I can tell you he didn't treat women that way. So whatever he did as a jester in his 50 years, he did not treat women that way. He didn't treat me that way. He didn't let his friends treat me that way. Fred would have never let another man touch me, ever. I mean, I had men flirt with me in restaurants, and Fred would go, all right, fella, get the fuck out of here. Like, he would not, he was a lot like Tommy there. Like, it was, this is my territory and you're not going to touch it. Like, he wasn't overbearing about it. He was just a gentleman, is how he should be. To go from that to marrying someone who let his friends grab me, pull my hair, tug at me, say gross things, was really, really, really hurtful. And it broke my heart in many ways. So to be with someone again like Tommy, who has my back, physically, mentally, he doesn't let me fall. And I do the same for him. So we're a really good match there. He's very protective of me. I don't ever worry when I'm in the space of Tommy Scoville. I never worry. He is the top person you would ever want to protect you. I would take Tommy over Secret Service. Is it possible the girls were angry because the jesters took out their anger with you on them physically? Not to guilt you, but could help you forgive them. I don't understand that. Is it possible the girls were angry because the jesters took out their anger with you on them physically? I don't think they did.
There's no history of these guys beating anyone.
Yeah, I don't know of anything about men physically abusing them other than the sex. They're paying them for sex. But no, thank you for your super chat. But no, I don't think so. If the Shriners knew about it, would they not stand for it? Robin W., that's a great question. I spoke with a big Mason. I can't say who he is, and I can't give his title because it would give him away, but he's huge. Okay. I went to a party a year ago and he was there. Big guy. Okay. Very well known in the Masons. He sat at a table with me. My husband went to the bathroom at the time. And I said, this is probably the last time I'm ever going to see you. I'd known the guy for years. And he said, what do you mean? I knew his wife real well. I knew his kids. And I said, I'm going to leave. I'm going to be leaving. And he said, why? And I said, he is in a group that you don't know about because you're not one. And he said, the Jesters? And I said, you know about them? And he said, absolutely, I know about them. He said, I know who they are. And this guy is a Mason, a very well-known Mason. And I said, how do you know? And he said, I just know. Let's put it that way. And this is a quote. This guy said to me, the Jesters are a fucking stain on the Masons. They're a fucking stain. He said, I loathe them. And I felt so validated. Even that, I was like, oh, he knows. I said, how do you know? He said, I know what goes on. He said, I've been invited in. And he said, I would never do that shit to my wife. He said, I love my wife and I would never partake in what they do. And he said, they're a stain. And he said, I wish I could get rid of them. So there are Shriners, Robin. There are Masons and Shriners. Very small percentage know what they are, who they are, and what they do. And this guy was one of them. So they're not all bad people. Masons are not all bad people. Shriners are not all bad people. There really are ones that get involved to help kids, be a part of that charity. Jesters are not good people. I'm not going to say there's probably some good ones. Fuck that. I have talked to many under the radar jesters. Tommy and I both have. And they've said, we don't participate in that. I don't care. You know about it. They've all admitted to knowing about it. Like my ex-husband would say, I don't participate, but you know about it. And that's a problem for me. You are enabling it. You are part of it. You are an accomplice to it. Do you agree?
If you attend the parties, you're complicit. It's like the people that are right now with the Busby case and all of the stuff that's going on with Diddy. If you're there and you watch the stuff going on, why are you going to sex parties if you're not partaking in sex parties?
Right.
I mean,
I don't feel sorry for you. I don't feel sorry for you. Do you know how many there's a particular one that goes, I don't partake in the shit. I love my wife. There's one of them that says that to me. And I go, I don't care. You know about it.
Why are you going?
Why would your wife be okay with this? I wonder if the Masons don't do anything against the jesters. Is it not possible? I think there's too many jesters. There's over 100,000. There's not much they can do about
There
this.
really is not much that they can do about this. I think other than, be disturbed by it. And they would like to distance themselves, but it's an ugly cult. It really is, of sorts. It's a sex cult of sorts. It's a very, very ugly situation, but there are a lot of really great people who are Masons, especially people that, I don't know what goes on at the top. I don't think anyone does, but those people get in to be Masons, not because they're hoping to get laid. The people that get into to become a jester are getting in for all the wrong reasons.
Feisty Kitty, welcome. The girls were mad because it's their paycheck. You weren't here.
No,
they were
definitely not
pissed.
why.
What do you think? They were sneering at me.
Oh, they are pissed. They were all angry, but I'll tell you exactly why they were angry. Because they know, no joke, they painted this picture. You talked to the one in particular, and she said to you, I've been able to live the most glamorous life. Like you're painting this in your head, listening to the things she said. And you got to see her at work. You got to see her with guys that are just, if you saw these people.
And I'm free. I'm not sitting there in a cage like they are.
Correct. You were there because you chose to be there. And she was there because she was paid to be there. And it's an embarrassment. And I mean, I unfortunately.
But also I think it does mess with their money a little bit because we were exposing it. That's threatening. That girl, that under the radar hooker that has been reaching out to me keeps saying, stop what you're doing. Please stop. Please stop. You're going to put an end to this and we need our money. And she said that.
Embarrassment though. I mean, what I saw were people that were, they were embarrassed. There's no other way. And you know something? I've done stuff for money that you don't want the world to watch you do. And then when someone that like a friend sees you doing whatever, you just go, oh God, you were there seeing this glamorous life. And it was the least at the Gold Coast with these guys in $30 shoes and just, bowling shirts that say the Jesters on the back, and the girls are wearing their name tags. It was the most disgusting thing you've ever seen.
They all wear name tags. And some of the girls were wearing the guys' name tags. And that was wild for me. I wanted to take a picture of that so bad, but I couldn't. And I wasn't willing to break the rules.
And just sad looking. And I realized that there's no such thing as a happy hooker. I mean, I'm a recovering heroin addict. I know that there's no such thing as a happy hooker. I knew plenty of them. But these were just sad looking women that looked like they've been doing this way too long. It was just horrific. The entire thing was the most depressing. I mean, I didn't paint in my head what she did. I was not married to one of these people. I know how this kind of thing goes on, but I have seen it. Not the classy fellas, but just guys out there doing things like this. This was as lowbrow, bottom of the barrel kind of stuff I've ever seen. It was depressing.
And that makes me think what you just said. I wasn't married to one of these. Of course, they're all men. A couple of these prostitutes are married. And we have had husbands reach out to us, and I will not name them. I will not say anything else other than desperate, like willing to give up any information to prove who they are. First of all, it's not that I have had so many husbands go, please, I need to know what my wife is doing. So here's the thing. A lot of these prostitutes, Sharon, we're back together, girl. A lot of these prostitutes tell their husbands, I was told by my ex-husband that they tell their husbands they are Mary Kay sales reps, makeup sales reps, and they travel around every weekend. And that's how they make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year.
And they get these great vacations. And
yes, So I have had so many under the radar prostitutes' husbands, bartenders' husbands reach out to me going, please, I am at my last wit here. Please help me. My wife is obviously lying to me and I need to know what you know. It's very desperate and it's very sad.
About a half a dozen of them.
Yeah.
I mean,
we've had a lot of people reach out.
It's horrific.
We've had people reach out too, wanting to help, going, hey, I was a prostitute, or I was a bartender, or I am a bartender, saying, here's what I know.
Yep.
Because they're angry. Some of them have been shit on a little bit.
These guys also don't pay what they're supposed to pay. There's been 2 scandals so far with this organization. One took place in South America, and there were minors involved in this.
You can Google that.
Yeah, you can Google it. The reason that came to the surface, they stiffed them. They would never have reported them. They were going back year after year and doing this abusive stuff, and they were happy to get the money because it's big American dollars, but they stiffed him, said, this is what we'll pay you, didn't pay him enough. They reported it. Second time was in New York, the Buffalo court. You can Google this one as well, because this was a scandal that made the news. People were prosecuted. One was a judge. So it's not unheard of, but it doesn't happen very often. And the narrative is the same from everybody, her ex and every other person. Couple of bad apples. The rest of us are here for fellowship. We're here to make the earth a better place. We're keeping the legacy of Shakespeare alive with his book BS, right? All of that, because you have to have something educational or whatever so you can get a tax write-off. So that book BS that they put on is just a way so that they can keep the tax exempt status going.
And I want to say, because I just saw a comment from D. Thompson, these women, that's why we're doing this. I am not shaming these women in any way.
No.
I feel sorry for these
Good
women.
God.
My ex-husband said to me many, many times, these women are fucking idiots. It's all they know how to do. That's the only way they know how to make money. They can't, what are they going to do? Go be a cashier? That's what they've done their whole lives. That's all they know how to do. They tore these women down. They don't give a shit about these women. I care about these women.
Yeah.
I have a problem with it. Now, sex work is sex work. If you're consenting and you want to get paid to do that, I don't not support that. Do whatever you want to do. But if it's something you're being forced into, and I'm not
born into,
I'm not saying these women are being forced, but I think there's a lot of coercion going on.
So think about this for a second. If you have one customer, but the customer has thousands of penises, because really that's what we're looking at. These people only work for the Jesters, right? So the Jesters control their every life. Everything about their life is controlled by these people. Yeah. That's coercion. Now they're getting paid for it, yes. But it's like her husband would say, that's all they've ever done. You got people that have been doing this for 25 years. I'm sorry, it's not consent anymore. It really isn't. It's disturbing. And there are people... Yeah, it's
and I think there was a little bit of anger there because we were messing with their money. I think the guys are mad that we're poking the hornet's nest here.
The guys
exposing. There's 1,200 people watching. We are going to keep exposing this, and there is nowhere for them to hide. We are shining light on this, and this is not something I can just say that I heard. I have proof. I have all kinds of proof of this. Tommy, perhaps this would be a good topic for you to speak about on Sean's channel and have Reese as a panel guest.
That's an excellent idea. And I'm going to have to deep dive this to make sure that that I can verify it. But if Jimmy Savile was a jester, that's huge because of the Atwood channel being in Great Britain and what Jimmy Savile did. And the memory of Jimmy Savile is not long. He recently passed. This is still something that's very, very fresh wound.
Better together. Fred didn't gift you to the smelliest. I'd like to think if he ever thought the cellist was coming to collect you, he would have warned you. Absolutely. I think Fred would have never, if Fred knew the behavior that was going to occur, no, I don't believe that for a second. He would have not been okay with that. Sorry if that came across wrong. I was worried they might try to shut you down by making you feel responsible for other women. Absolutely no apology necessary, no. Rosemary's Kitchen. Don't worry about it. And I appreciate your super chat. But no, I want you guys to ask questions. I want you to challenge this. I know Kristen Melinda, it's so funny. I feel like that's probably good. We're going to continue to talk about this. We'll probably do a little bit of a show on the lifeboat as well, just to talk about it there for people who missed it maybe later on today. We might do an evening show, but I think Johnny is going to also be helping us with this. I think as many channels and exposure as we can get is the whole purpose. we want to make these guys famous.
We also have a first time ever, but we have a legit editing team, and we're going to be putting together a couple of, I mean, as much as we can call it with our skill set, a documentary of sorts to so that you guys can share this far and wide. What do? We bring it to light. Watch what light does. This is the year of exposure, right? Look at these powerful entities that are dropping. I have nothing but confidence that these guys are, this is the death throes. You can't keep bringing people into a secret society if the whole world knows about the secret society.
And I'm sure they're furious. I mean, I have their book that has all their pictures in it, what they do for a living. We've got way too much evidence.
No question.
Physical evidence. I mean, there's just too much. It's like the Church of Scientology. There's nowhere to run with that. Like with my personal story growing up, I have way too much evidence of that. I was 14 years old on staff, sleeping with a 24-year-old staff member. I have evidence of all kinds of evidence of that. So, I mean, there's nowhere they can go with this. And it's like Scientology. Would I like to shut it down? Absolutely. Am I going to do that? Probably not. But exposing it in my lifetime will make a dent. And it has.
Oh, it already
It has. People are Googling it. There's no way they're going to get new members. It's the same thing with this Jester stuff. But little by little, we're going to chip away at it.
And if you're new to this, their symbol is a little devil-looking guy that they call the Bilican. And he's a disturbing-looking little creature. But they churched him the hell up. When we saw the picture of him up on the billboard, he kind of looked like a baby. And look at him. He's way more handsome. I
snapped this picture when we got there. This was a big sign in the hotel. Now, notice it doesn't say Royal Order of Jesters anywhere. That's their little creepy guy. And it said branding party registration, second floor, Arizona, Nevada convention area. So you have to know what that is and what it means. Branding party registration, Nevada convention. So the average person is not going to know what that is. That's what I mean. Hey, Kathy loves horses. These guys are hiding in plain sight. People are walking in droves around them, just common, normal people. They don't know what that is. Who is Jimmy Savile? I don't know either.
Okay, so Jimmy Savile was probably he's very, very famous in Great Britain. He was knighted.
Yes, humble and kind.
And bar none, one of the most prolific predators on people who are underage, probably in history. And he did it with the help of, he was one of the most popular guys in the whole world in Great Britain. And he was just systematically abusing people for decades. And sadly, he passed before he was properly punished. But if he was a jester, I think the world needs to know that. That's just fitting as hell. I will definitely deep dive that. As of right now, we'll leave it at the allegedly. But I would love to be able to document that because he is really a piece.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So again, we're going to probably involve Johnny in this. We just want to expose this. He's obviously got a big channel as well, but
and
he's
editor Casper.
Our editor Casper. But Johnny is also very passionate about this. We've kind of given him the rundown on it, and he's like, "This has got to stop." I mean, the Scoville boys are good boys because they really, really, really respect women, and I love that about them. And they're very, very protective of women. That's my favorite thing about these guys. So we want to make them famous. We want to. This has to stop. It's super illegal. It's wrong. And none of those women looked happy. None of those women looked like they enjoyed what they're doing.
And are you comfortable with politicians and people on the on the bench? People who are going to decide prostitution cases, people who are going to decide illegal gambling cases. They're going out every weekend to buy hookers and gamble. That's a problem. And the people, I can show you a clip of film, and we'll do it over on the lifeboat, but I can show you a clip of film of a senator standing on the floor of Congress talking about human trafficking, right, in a video, and he's a jester. Like this, there's a problem with this. And there's been no light shined on this, and we're going to start shining some light. And then we can start writing letters and asking politicians, hey, how the hell are you a jester? You want to explain that to me? Because those are the kind of letters that gets things done. It may sound silly to you, but it's a fact. Politicians and people like that get scared when the wind blows. We just got to create a little wind.
And there are quite a few politicians.
There are, and one, I will out him. He is currently a congressman. So there are people that are getting away with stuff that just shouldn't happen, man. How are you gonna pass laws about trafficking and about prostitution while you engage in it? That's a problem.
Sarah Bowman, squirrel is around. She's coming around to me. She's not afraid of me. Brock Vandy says, do you think the Jesters are responsible for why Epstein list has not been revealed? No, they're not that cool and important.
No, truthfully, what they are is one of a crap load of secret societies that all seem to fall under the umbrella of the Masons. And by umbrella, I mean, if you're not a Mason, you're not going to find out about any of these things in terms of being able to get into them. So, and there's a crap ton of them. And this just seems to be the most debaucherous of them. All of them engage in some level of hiring prostitutes and throwing parties that are a little over the top. But they also all seem to have something that is a redeeming quality, right? Like what the Shriners do with the prostitutes and all that's kind of foul, right? But whatever. They're doing an awful lot with these hospitals. Now I will get emails from people who say, they only do those hospitals so that they can go in there, and I can't back any of that up. I know a lot of people send emails about that, but I can't back that up yet.
I'm going to get to that because I want to get to that. These women are very likely addicted to various substances just to sleep at night because they are lying to everyone in their own lives. Absolutely. I believe that to be true.
I've never met a prostitute that didn't have a drug problem. I'm not saying they don't exist. I've never met one, and I have met a ton of prostitutes. It's just part of the addictive life.
And Lucia, how can we help you? That's so nice. I love Lucia.
Share.
Spread the word.
Share this to everybody that you know and say, you want to hear something crazy? This is taking place inside the U.S. right now.
And
every day.
Rosemary, that's really kind. It's whatever. I can't begin to imagine how Reese has turned out so stable after what she's lived through. I think I just had a lot of... I thought you were going to say she's kind of unstable.
She's not that stable. That's what I was going to say. I don't, you only catch her an hour to whack. I don't know how stable she is. I'm kidding.
Thank you for saying that, even if my boyfriend doesn't agree.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Emailed. Okay, Kestrel. What was I going to say? I want to comment on this. Tommy, what happened to your internet at the hotel right before you left? So right after all this, that's why we left. And that's why we say we were kind of chased out. So we went, did that stream on my channel, the last stream I did. The cops showed up right at the end of that stream. Okay. That's when all the Jester stuff blew up. They started taunting us, baiting us, right? The next morning, I got up and I looked at you and I said, I want to get out of here. I had chills. I was like, I want to get out of this hotel.
And I said, I'm just going to do a quick
He said, I'm going to do a quick stream. He tried to stream and the stream went down.
Then, right after I said Jesters.
The internet cut out in our room. He tried to call his son. It picked up the call. It dropped the call. I tried to call my mom. All of a sudden, I couldn't make outgoing calls.
Couldn't get an outgoing call.
I don't know if they have that kind of power. I don't know if the hotel can do that. However, it was creepy as shit. I have never gotten ready so fast. I was putting on my skincare. I was like, why am I even putting on makeup? I was getting so quickly ready. I said, Tommy, I want to get the fuck out of this hotel. I started panicking because I thought, what if they set us up?
Well, there's a window in the shower is a window about this big that you can open. And I opened the window to look out just to see if it was cool or chilly. And there are 4 cops standing down. I swear to you doing this, like pointing directly up. I went, come here, look at this.
Yeah, it was.
And I get paranoid quickly. It was effed up. They were pointing directly at our room, so we were just like, maybe we should just.
We were going to stay another night. I said, I want to get out of here. I can't tell you how. I'm a weird packer. I'm like really particular. I'm meticulous, and I was throwing shit into my bag, and he thought I was mad at him because I was like
a little grumpy.
Honey,
you were a little grumpy. Tell the truth. You were a little grumpy.
I said, but not at you, babe. Not at you. I said, he said, are you all right? And I said, I want to get the fuck out of here. I want to get out of this hotel right now. We were going to go eat breakfast downstairs. And I said, no, let's go. Because I started getting the feeling like they were going to set us up. I started getting the feeling like all I could think about after I tried to call my mom and the call dropped. And mind you guys, we'd been in this hotel 2 days. We didn't have that problem until after the cops showed up. So I tried calling my mom, the call dropped. He tried to go live. It dropped. He couldn't get on. I said, all I'm waiting for right now is this. Like I was waiting for our hotel door to be knocked on. It was going to be cops going, you guys are under arrest. Like I was like, we have to get out of here. I said, Tommy, we're in danger. We got to go. Like, do you know that feeling when like bells and alarms and whistles? Like I usually, when I start to feel a bad feeling, I'm like, listen to it, because I often ignored it, even being a Scientologist. And I thought, I can't even ignore this. Like there were just bells and sirens going off in my head. And I was like, we have got to get the fuck out of here now. We have to get out of this hotel. So we did. And it was really, really freaking me out. Yeah, it was startling.
It was really
more for him because he is a convict, right? Like he's got a record. And I thought all it takes, you know, I've had one speeding ticket my whole life. I think it was 20 years old. All it takes is for them to try to set him up. It's him I'm worried about, not me. It's Tommy I'm worried about. And I would never forget. Skipper, I have not seen you in forever. Congrats for being here. And I'm no longer a child of divorce. Did the Jesters see you leaving? Oh, they watched us leave. Absolutely. That's when I had my bag and I was wheeling my bag out. Oh yeah. And I was wheeling my bag out and the prostitute who I know, she went, Reese. And I turned around. She went, what the fuck are you doing here? And I said, it's a coincidence, research purposes, girl. And we booked it. We hightailed it the fuck out of there. They were by
the elevators on our floor. I mean, they were literally
watching everywhere.
When we went to leave, it was like walking a gauntlet. Like
if there were
5
trees,
feet, there were people.
If there were trees, they would have been swinging from them with binoculars.
Even in the parking garage, there were 2 of them. They were everywhere.
They were everywhere. They were watching us very, very hardcore. It was scary. It was really scary.
It's a little creepy.
And when his stream shut down and when he tried to make a call and then I tried to make a call, I said, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
Something's really, really, really going off. Like, I don't think I've ever had alarms in my gut going off like that. My head was pounding. I was sweating. And I think it's just because I'm so vain, but I was like putting makeup on and I was like, why am I doing this? Let's just go. We have to get out of here. I don't even care what I look like. Let's just go. But I packed quickly and we just left. And
it was creepy.
They got what they wanted. But the problem is at the same time, they didn't, because what did they think? I was going to lay down and die? Like, I'm still going to stream, dude. I'm still going to tell you, I'm going to tell the world what we saw. We may not have been able to stream it. We may not have been able to take photos. They stopped us from doing that. The problem is it's
the both of us can recount what happened.
You're not going to take away
the next guy.
You're not going to take away my voice. That was taken away from me for too long. Did your phones work as soon as you left? As soon as we left?
As soon as I got in the parking garage.
Yep. Yeah. Phones worked fine.
Yeah. So once we got outside the building. But yeah, couldn't get, it was really a bizarre thing, but you know what? There's a lot of these things coming up.
Now think about it, guys. All of those measures took place, I think, because we are getting way too close to pulling the curtain back. We are getting obviously very, very close. They're getting louder. They're kicking and screaming.
They're more obnoxious,
pissed.
to be sure.
Yeah, we are close, and that's all I want. I just want to expose these assholes.
When you're above the target, that's when you catch a little flack. But I think she's absolutely right. I think that we're dangerously close. I think that they were hoping it was over. You know what I mean? Reese kind of went away. We stopped talking about this.
Somebody sent it to me, Mara. Actually, it was a gift. Someone sent it to me.
Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, thank you.
So it was getting to the point, I think, where they were super, super happy that after that late party, we kind of went away. But we haven't gone away.
Were other people's phones working? Yes, because they were taking photos of us.
Yeah, on the way out. I'm sure that we're probably all over every one of the,
I knew that none of this was illegal. I absolutely knew it because these cops said, you can't so much as pull your phones out. Well, but everybody else can. So, I mean.
Well, I mean, I realize it's BS, but you're not going to get in a pissing contest with the people that run the joint, number one. And number two, we made a video called Hunting for the Royal Order of Jesters.
We were harassing them.
While staying in a hotel
and that's
full
fine.
of Royal Order of Jesters.
That's fine. I wasn't willing to push it. I wasn't going to question the police. Like, I followed everything they told me to follow.
Yeah, the pictures we'll show later are from the first night, not the second night. Because we do have some pictures.
We do have some pictures, but we couldn't take pictures after that.
No, that was a wrap.
Yeah. So guys, thank you. Thank you for listening to this. We are probably going to do a show about this on the boat just to get some exposure over there. Johnny Scoville is going to get involved with helping us with this. Casper's going to help us with this. So
there's a lot coming.
There's a lot coming. And I want to say thank you again for being supportive of me and Tommy being in the same room.
Everybody's supportive.
Kind of into it.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this thing up then. All right, peeps.
How did you learn all the details about this party? My ex-husband.
He's really giving that way.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I've got a lot of his
Because you know what it comes
planner
down
information.
to? What he saw there, what he heard there, didn't stay there.
So that's
When
their
he left
motto.
there.
That's the Jester motto. What you see here, what you hear here, stays here when you leave here. That's their motto for every party they have. And
Unless you're the ex, because what he heard there.
Time to leave your loved ones and
go back to your family.
Go back to your families. That's another thing they say at the end of every party.
Yeah.
Time to leave your loved ones and go home to your families. That is a quote for what they say. It's insane.
Creepy.
Super creepy. Guys, please hit subscribe. Welcome to all the new people from the Lifeboat. I appreciate you coming over and being supportive.
Cool.
And we will continue to do more and answer your questions. Hop over to the Lifeboat. We'll probably do something later this evening. Maybe we'll get.
Nope, I got night yard later this evening.
Oh, maybe
but we will
tomorrow
get
then.
it. We will definitely get it tomorrow.
Okay. Maybe you and I can eat something.
Okay.
All
There's a lot more coming, people. There's a lot more coming.
There's a lot more coming.
They needed to get lippy. Now we're going to crack open the vault and all the stuff you didn't see last time. We're going to put it together into a nice little spliced up. You're going to like it. I promise. Stick around.
Thank you guys for being here. Again, thank you. Please hit subscribe. We love you guys. Mods, you're the best. Thank you for doing this and always being with me, mods, protecting me. All right, we will see you again very soon. And thanks for everyone that was concerned and checked on us. I mean it. It was really, really kind. Have a good one, everybody. Thank you.